So I'm here with Michael Crandell, who's both a CEO and co-founder of RightScale, and in my view, a pioneer in this industry, actually, been in it since the get-go.
Thank you,
So
Michael.
great to have you here. So I'm interested to know, what were some of the takeaways that resonated for you with what you're doing at RightScale?
Around the survey?
Yeah, around the survey.
So, we've admired the survey that you guys do for a couple of years now, and the reason is that it's really important to know what the actors out there in the market are really thinking and doing and planning, because it's a fast evolving marketplace. We go back to the days when, in fact, when we first started to try and raise money, we would pitch what RightScale was, but first we had to explain what Amazon EC2 was, and usually investors, half of them said, don't they sell books?
Yeah.
So we're that old.
Yeah.
And the market has evolved quite a bit. So this tracking of what buyers are thinking and what matters to them is important.
Yeah.
In this year's survey, I thought it was interesting. It's fresh because it was just earlier this evening, but I thought it was very interesting to track the decreasing importance of cost as a factor, and the increasing importance of other factors, for example, agility and resilience. Another part of the survey that resonated with us was around security and how that's increasingly becoming solved as a problem for folks. It's still a big concern, but there's been a lot of progress by the cloud providers on all fronts, getting more certifications, creating technologies that deal with things like encryption on write to disk and various specific technologies, VPN type technologies and so on, that help solve and alleviate customer concerns there.
And for RightScale, what has this year been like? Tell us about some of the things that have been the highlights for you.
So this year has been marked by a strong trend, another thing that resonates from the survey, around adoption of hybrid cloud as the foremost topology of what larger companies are interested in.
Right.
We target cloud management for enterprises. And enterprises are very concerned about a few things that very much coincide with what you found in the survey. One of them is hybrid topology, so combining public and private as kind of the holy grail of both. As you pointed out, there are complexities to that still need to be solved. One of them is an issue that we address, which is namely, how do you manage disparate APIs, disparate technologies, disparate resource behaviors from multiple providers, including your own internal private cloud. So that was at the forefront, was this hybrid technology. Another is around general governance and compliance. So cost management, cost analysis, cost forecasting, those are all coming to the forefront also in our experience for enterprises. And we saw a bit of that in your survey also.
It's great to hear you talking about how you're going to enable this hybrid cloud, because obviously that is in some people's eyes the best of both worlds. But in reality, and the survey pointed this out, there's a lot of complexity in that. Can you talk a little bit about how you're going to help solve some of that in the coming year?
Yes, so we really have a three-pronged approach. One is that we abstract the low-level cloud resources that are exposed by clouds, and through different APIs, we abstract that into a kind of a unified resource representation that the RightScale single pane of glass.
And that's a meta layer, really.
That's
for
a meta layer across those low-level resources. Secondly, we provide automation across those. And a key ingredient in that is around configuration management through a templatized approach to how workloads launch in the cloud, and the predictability of when you launch a particular workload or server or cluster of servers, that you know exactly what's going to happen through the entire boot process up through a running state. And the third level is kind of ongoing governance and maintenance from the point of view of the users who interact with the system. So basically our web interface, or anyone's web interface to the cloud, is almost like the fingerprint and iris scanner to get into the data center. It's your entry point to this virtual infrastructure, sometimes massive, that you're able to manage. So controlling who has access, when, what the capabilities and roles and permissions that they have is critical to having some kind of control and governance over what happens in this new world of virtual infrastructure.
Well, I know from many of the participants in the survey and also talking to CIOs that exactly what you're doing is very much needed. So I wish you luck with that, and here's to another good year and seeing you again next year.
Thank you very much,
Great.
Michael.
Pleasure to have you here.
Survey.
Oh, pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Good.
Great.